Welcome to the BurlyFishing Podcast, a podcast for outdoors men and women from all walks of life and skill levels. Join my friend Paul Glass and I as we dive into outdoor topics ranging from just getting started with fishing and hunting, to gear reviews, to special guests and interviews. Along the way, we'll address some fun and, sometimes controversial topics. And as always, we're going to engage you, the audience, with questions, feedback, and shout-outs. This is the BurlyFishing Podcast.
Live in 3.
Welcome back to the BurlyFishing Podcast, episode 3, episode title, To Be Determined, after we ask the question of the day. But today, what we're talking about is yakking, kayaks. What kind of kayaks should we be looking for? Price ranges, what to prioritize when you're buying a kayak, where to get them, all sorts of good stuff. So we're going to dive right into that. Before we do that, if this is your first time stopping by the podcast, be sure to subscribe. If you guys like the episode at the end, give us a 5-star review, write something in the comments, let us know your thoughts, and you can, of course, reach out to us, email us at Burly. What is our email, Paul?
Burly's
Fishing.
There it is.
Fine, I'll edit that. Email us at burlysfishing@gmail.com.
You have to leave it.
I will leave it. It's fine. You can message us on our different media platforms. We are on Instagram at BurlyFishing, Facebook.com/BurlyFishing, and of course the YouTube channel, which is where we started, and that is BurlyFishing. It's BurlyFishing everywhere, right? I actually posted an episode today on YouTube. I did Burly Pro Side Bros, so BurlyFishing, Burly Pro. I was pretty pumped about it. They're from Australia. They're pretty cool. Anyways, so what are we talking about today, Paul?
I think first and foremost, question of the day.
Oh, wait. Before question.
Oh,
quick announcement.
No. We're adding a new segment, news and noteworthy.
News and noteworthy. Yeah, we should do that. So we'll do kicking episodes off, kind of what have we been up to, and news and noteworthy, and then we'll do a question of the day. Then we'll hit the topics. So stay tuned for that. So news that's noteworthy. I have recently partnered up with a pretty slick company, Monster Bass. So if you guys are on the market looking for
big giant bass.
If you want to catch monster bass, you have to subscribe to Monster Bass, obviously.
Well, I've never had one. I have no idea.
You just like dinks. It's all okay. Is there a dinky bass box?
Is there a miniature bass box?
Can I get a baby bass?
A diminutive bass box expert?
I'd like to catch another. Is there a skunks only? It rains every time.
I have that box.
Oh, you definitely have that box. Anyways, if you guys are looking for a monthly tackle box that is absolutely solid, loaded up with some good lures and baits, you guys should check out Monster Bass. I'll include my affiliate link in the description so you can click that, go there, pick up your first box, tell me how much you love it. Anyways, other than that, what's new with us? I did get to go fishing this week in the kayak. We're talking about kayaks. Guess what, Paul? Guess what?
Yeah.
I caught some fish.
Rub it in. No.
I sent Paul pictures and he's mad at me, but so we caught a 3-pounder and a little over a 4 in my, on the home lake, man. The tiny little puddle next to my house.
Yeah, you went real far. You really stretched the boundaries of what's possible.
I worked really hard. It took me 5 minutes to load the kayak and get to the spot and launch.
Did you make a pit stop at the local gas station and get Frosty Chew or no?
No, not this time.
Yeah. Oh, not this time. Okay.
I was already loaded up, bro. But yeah, we got out on the Hobie. We were flipping jigs and we were running deep cranks and literally only had 2 bites all day. And it was those 2 fish, one on the crank, one on that old reliable, I think it's a Burly, the digger, right? That's Burly, right?
6.5.
The 8 in the green sunfish.
Yeah. The yellow,
the orange belly,
blue and orange.
Yeah. That one,
green.
Old Reliable. On camera, I was like, it's time for old Reliable. I guarantee you catch a fish. That's
always on sale at Meijer.
Yeah. It's legit. I've caught so many fish on that one crank. It's so chewed up. If you look at it, it's just got teeth marks all over it. It's awesome. And then I flipped a 6-cent jig with a was it a Yum Baits Christy Craw, which came in my Monster Bass box. Just
I
saying.
think you said more brands than actual baits.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go back and check the record.
Three baits, 2 fish. It works. If you do the math, it works. What about you, man? What you been up to?
Well, so Aaron, aka Cooch.
Ron.
We I think last week we went to a different fly shop and grabbed him a reel. This week we went out and got him some fly tie materials at depending on when this posts, if it posts Saturday, this is like full week one of the Corona quarantine. And so we broke quarantine and went to I think they canceled the Midwest Fly Fishing Expo. So we went out to the fly shops as they were trying to support local businesses and get free stuff. So
because you guys should do that.
So yeah, we went out and we bought some stuff. We got him some shrimp lures. I got 9-weight line for the 9-weight rod for roll casting, so we can bomb some salmon steelhead. But I picked up a flaming hot tip. If you're into fly tying and you're looking for mono eyes, so if you're going to tie like a craw, right? You know, they have like trailing little eyes. They're like little fingers with little black little eyes at the end of them.
Yep.
They pay like $350, $450 for like a little pack, and usually the pack comes with like 6 sets or something like that. Flaming hot tip. Mono line, so just like regular clear mono, like you use and have like hundreds and hundreds of yards of. You just cut like an inch of that, and then you take a lighter and you burn the end of it.
It's actually a flaming hot tip.
Literally requires a flaming hot. And it's
perfect
what it is. And so you get the joke. And so yeah, you literally burn the end and it kind of like mushrooms and makes a black eye. And it's like a little bit iridescent, swirly. It's fantastic. But yeah,
that's
free
sweet.
$99, $0, 5-finger discount. Picked up that hot tip. There were some really good fly tires there. It was pretty cool to see. And it was good to see people out. I mean, you know, there's a lot going on and it's a little bit crazy. And I don't want to look at my computer because I've been doing so much work the last couple of days trying to keep the business afloat. But I will say that was pretty cool. So that is what I picked up. Flaming hot tip and also shrimp fly tying stuff. That's it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Because he's going to Barbados.
He's going to Barbados, and
this boy
got him the Guru, the Lamson Guru. He's already got a 9-weight, I think he's using, and then some fly line, and now we're gonna be tying up some flies. So he started tying them. To be honest, Aaron, if you're listening, they look not terrible. He still needs them out, but they look pretty good. They actually look pretty good. So I'm hoping that he will let me tie him like 12.
Nice. And then he'll catch an amazing fish on it.
I already told him if he caught a fish on a fly that I tied, if he doesn't bring it back, I will literally fly back to Barbados. I will go get that fish. Owes it to me. He has to at least carve my name inside of it. Those are the rules. I don't make them up. Follow the rules.
I mean, he can send you home a mount, like if that's what you want.
Something.
Yeah. Would you go for the taxidermy mount, or
I actually think I would go for the full taxidermy mount. No, I would go for the hand wood carved, and the fish would have to be actually maybe like eating another fish. So you actually have to catch bait fish and also mount that.
But a fish that doesn't make sense to be in that fish's mouth,
like a tarpon.
Like a tarpon. A bluegill.
Audio.
Paul's making a drink.
It's quarantine.
Prior to the episode kicking off, I had to watch him chew open a bottle of Maker's Mark. Quarantine protocol in effect.
Yep.
All right, man. So question of the day.
Question of the episode. It's not really today's only.
Question of the episode.
Question of the episode.
We're making this up as we go, man. Give me a break.
Corona apocalypse. Not to make light of this, but we all need a laugh. So, okay, you can stash. Okay, everyone knows we're all hoarding stuff. Everyone's getting whatever they can in a can. It doesn't matter. You're hoarding something. You can have unlimited quantities. You can literally go to your local store and you can pick up as much as you possibly can fit in your vehicle. But you can only get 3 different things. Right? So you can, if you like hot dogs, you can get 1 trillion hot dogs if they fit in your vehicle. But like you can only have like hot dogs, hamburgers, and whiskey. Those are the only 3 things you can have, but you can have like 1 billion pounds and or gallons, right? So what is in your cart and or wheelbarrow?
And or a wheelbarrow. Well, let me first say, please don't do this. If you're currently hoarding, stop, cut it out. But anyways, for hypothetically, 3 things would be in my cart. 1 would be energy drinks, specifically the Rain. Rain is like this BCA.
Gross.
Fine, bang. It's the same thing.
Oh, double White Monster or just drink coffee.
No, I can't do that anymore. But like a Bang Energy or a Rain, and then so that I can survive the day, and because it's been just maddening.
Go on.
2 other things. I would say I was really depressed because Myers was out of meat this last time, so I'd say meat of some sort. Probably like
you get the hand-packed sirloin burgers for $44,099.
Just gouge in the market. I would say burgers. Burgers would be great. Burgers are like awesome right now. It's like grilling season.
Or ground beef. Dude, get specific. It's in the cart. Are you talking about the 1 pound? I'm
a big fan of Wahlburgers. I'm gonna say it right now.
Okay, so what else would go in your cart? We're just moving on. Your whole cart. So far, your cart is essentially empty.
I have energy drinks. I have burgers galore. Yeah. And the last thing I would have would be pepper jack cheese.
Sliced, pre-sliced, shredded? What are we talking about here?
Sliced.
Okay.
Sliced can become shredded if need be. I've made it happen before.
I'm gonna
multi-purpose.
We do a whole episode on how you did that. So
how I shredded. Did I fold it up, cut it, distribute?
All right. So
I've done it before.
Because Jeff's cart's almost void of anything.
Let's go.
All right. First of all, I'm sorry to say that one of the elements is going to be alcohol, and it's going to be.
Don't be sorry.
The ultimate dad pop, which is the I call Bud Heavy, which is the red can.
Sonny Bill.
The old G, Sonny Bill. That would be 1, and unlimited would be great. So we'll start there. We'll move on to what I actually bought, which was frozen chicken thighs, crucial for pretty much everything. And then, you know what? I take it back. Whole chickens. That way, the thighs and the breast meat.
Now we're thinking outside the box.
And you get the wings, and you get the homemade stock. So that's a triple win.
There you go.
And then, the rest is really a lot. It's not that I need anything else, but I'll throw coffee in there. But specifically, it's got to be the beans. I do not want that ground shit. Sorry, that ground trash. We're a family-friendly podcast. That ground trash. I want not the ground trash. I want the beans. Biggest bag possible.
Give me those beans.
That's it, right? So beans, whole chickens, and dad pops. I like my cart a lot more than yours. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know why you went to the store. Why'd you even go?
It's your cart, bro. Like, I get it. To be fair, normally I would have thrown some alcohol in there too. And if I were to do that, it would have been vodka. But taking a break this month, so.
Okay, we're moving on. There's too much sadness. All right.
All
right. So now we're getting into the meat and taters of the episode. Let's go ahead and kick ourselves off with, first of all, the quintessential question. Why would you ever buy a kayak in the first place when you could buy a boat?
Yeah, exactly. Don't buy a kayak. End of episode.
Okay.
Okay.
Just unplug. If you can unplug first, that'd be good. No,
I'm gonna go ahead and leave. Thanks.
I'm telling you right. Okay.
Don't buy a boat. Buy a kayak.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. First of all, why would a person purchase a boat? An actual boat, not a kayak.
You want to start with boats? Okay.
I'm gonna start. Why would you buy a boat?
If I were a boating man, and I'm not, but if I were,
you're a tiny boat man.
I'm a tiny boat man. I would imagine most people want to buy a boat if they live in an area with a much larger area lake.
Like if you live on a pristine lake.
Yeah, exactly. If you're living on an awesome lake, if you live on the lake, first
literally
live on
it.
because we all know taking it to the launch is a pain in the ass. But if you live on the lake, duh, absolutely. I think even with kayaks, like if I lived on a lake, I would own a boat as well. I'm not really a boating man, but I would own
But we're
one if I lived on
taking,
a lake.
there's a segment of the population we're immediately taking off the list. If you live on a lake and you don't own a boat, don't listen to this podcast. We don't want to hear from you.
Are you kidding me? Literally every house I see on every lake I've ever been to has a pontoon. So you have a boat.
Yeah, if you don't have a pontoon boat, like I don't want to talk to you. I can already. You're either,
especially if you have one of those rad ones that's just a platform, and then you built your own.
Yeah. My first question for you, if you live on a lake and don't own a boat, is do you like sugar and water? Like, are you are you an alien? That's all I want to know.
Sugar, water,
and
more sugar.
Yeah, okay, that's it. If you don't watch movies, you can't listen to podcasts either.
Well, Men in Black's kind of a throwback reference, man.
1992, coming in hot.
Yeah. All right. So you would own a boat if you have access to a large area of water and you live very close to it, if not preferably on it.
You can leave all your stuff on the boat.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't live on the water, you have a massive amount of storage where you can keep said boat fully prepped, covered, and ready to rock whenever you want.
I.e., you're rich and you live in Florida.
Well, maybe. But I mean, if you have like a pole barn, or if you have a storage unit or something that's
okay.
You know, I guess
we haven't gotten to the why not. So sure. Yeah. If you are rich, you have tons of stuff, and you leave it on the boat.
You're doing great at this family friendly thing.
You have tons of things and you just leave them on the boat all the time, and it's like no effort for you. Fantastic. Whatever. Good job. You should have a boat. If you have, we're sticking to fishing. If you have like a bunch of family members, right? Like you want to take like 1 million kids onto a boat, sure. You should probably buy like an all sports fishing boat. But like you're never going to actually use it for that because your kids are going to be on it, and kids fish for like 14 to 12 minutes at a time.
And then, dude, I've taken my kid fishing. You just toss them in the water with a life jacket. And you say, go swim around. I'll come back for you.
You are the bait. Yeah, for sure.
Lure them in. You're really helping by kicking and splashing and screaming.
You could struggle more.
That'd be great. We're fishing for sharks.
Yeah, so, I mean, the whys of buying a boat, basically, if you have the money, if you have the resources, if you live on a lake, basically, if it's like hyper convenient and like a boat is like easy for you, yes. I'm going to just immediately switch to why you would not own a boat. I feel like it tells a better story. Why you would not own a boat. They are expensive as things. Stuff. They are so expensive. You have to, liability, you're talking about, okay. I had a boat. I had like the easiest version of a boat. I had a 14-foot deep V, 1980s Johnson with a, what is that? The 155 thrust tiller. It was like an ideal, like move it easily boat, right?
Same.
Aluminum, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My God, I lived in an apartment, and it was like, okay, every time I return from fishing or I want to go fishing, I have to either take away or remove the motor, the battery, life jackets, the electronics, the rods, like all my bait and tackle, like, oh, the snacks I'm gonna have for the day, like a whole cooler. And it was like, it took more time to like pack all the crap up and like unpack it
than the fishing time.
Then it was like, it was something that I looked at that I was like, oh my God, it's not even worth it. Like, I don't even care about getting on the water because I don't want to love. And like, granted, this is an extreme situation because like you're leaving the boat out where it can be like any of your stuff can get pilfered at any time. But like, even when it's on like your property in your garage or whatever, you still have to like load and unload all that crap.
So my example, because I also owned a boat until this last week when I sold it, but I had a 14-foot John, same kind of setup, used a trolling motor. But I mean, I have a house, I have my own property. I have a 2.5 stall garage, which is huge, but
that's like code for a half car.
there was not enough room for a boat. We'll just say that. So it went like next to the garage, like between my house and my neighbor's house. And it was okay. It was okay storage, but I still had to unload it, cover it back up, all this other stuff. This winter, I had it covered, and turns out cover was not waterproof. So this boat straight up
Put the washcloth over it. It was like, nah, we're good. Just wash it.
Just like a used napkin from a diner. Like, this will be fine. And it just filled with water all winter long and froze. And then
Tell me more about your license.
Oh yeah, so I uncovered it, and there's just like ice in every compartment, and
Like
I'm
a
like,
foot of ice.
This is great. So I unplugged it. I sent Paul a snap of this thing draining obscene amounts of water, and then I went to my waterproof box, quote unquote waterproof box in the back, and I opened it up, and it's full. It's an ice block. There's an ice block inside of it, and I pull out this ice block. And I forgot that I had left my boater's license in there. And inside the block, you see, it's like Captain America being removed from the ice.
It's like the mosquito from Jurassic Park.
There's just a green slip of paper inside the ice block. And I go, what do I do? So I just like smashed it on my driveway, and it came out pristine. And I still have it, and it's perfect. So I'm like, all right. Both suck.
Right. Well, I mean, like legitimately, okay, you literally look at the chore of like loading up a boat, driving and like hooking it up, driving it out, backing it up, which is I'll be honest with you, even if you're like good at what you're doing when the line is long, or even if there's like one person, maybe I'm just like,
I feel so much pressure, man.
I'm a weak-kneed individual, but like that is a stressful situation.
The first day I took my boat out, one, forgot the plug. Two,
I literally did the same thing.
There was a line, and I backed it in, and it filled with water. And I was like, "Excuse me, I'm gonna just pull over here and go kill myself."
I had the exact. Okay, so the first time we went, we did the whole boating thing, and we came back. Oh, you know what? That's not true. I wasn't boating. I did save someone's ass. They backed their truck too far up into the water, and they like no traction, and we're like floating away. And I had the most like, you know, like when you buy a truck, you're like, you have this like this like pristine like image of yourself, like you dream about like saving someone's life because you have enough like horsepower to tow somebody.
Yeah.
I had that moment.
You did it.
I backed up, I hooked up to his axle, and dude, I drug this guy and his boat right up onto dry land, and I was like, "You're welcome." I basically saved his life. And this guy was, you know what? I gotta be honest. Dude's unloading his boat in dress shoes and shorts.
Oh man.
Like with like dress socks.
What?
And he had like his wallet in his pocket, and he like went up to his waist, and like he's running back up to like, I have no idea. It was an absolute disaster. But yeah, I saved that guy's whole day. Anyways.
Yeah, a lot of people have ruined me for boating too, just watching like boneheaded boaters.
Oh yeah, that'll ruin boats. I mean, okay, and so you've got the cost, you've got the. I will consider loading up an inconvenience, and it really, honest to God, that is like, to me, it was like one of the biggest barriers, because it actually like made me spend less time in the water, because I did not want to deal with all the crap of like loading up.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got. I will say this. This fits into the why category. Once you're on the water.
It's awesome.
Dude, it's like fantastic.
You can
like
go places really
unbelievable.
fast.
It's like you can go wherever you want. If you have a troller or a kicker, I mean, you can troll. You can be quiet and get in all the neat little sneaky areas. And like, sure, there's like this whole like people always want to talk about like with a kayak, I can get into all the places other people. Dude,
we're gonna talk about that.
But like it does. You have a boat. You're like, dude, I don't care. Go ahead, go back there. Have a nice day. I don't even care. I'm gonna go over here with like chicks in bikinis and do whatever I want. Like it's so, when you're on the water, it is pretty great. But then you have to get off the water, and you have to like undo all that work that you like had to do. On top
it makes the end of the day harder.
It's brutal. It's like the last thing. It's hard. We're gonna get there. And on top of that, you've got like the maintenance, the long-term piece of it, the motor. Like, I'm not a wrench turner dude. I'm definitely a DIYer. I like to build things. I love doing things myself, but like I am not a motor person. Like, I want the freaking thing to like I want to look at it and I want it to just work. And when it doesn't work, I just get upset. And so I bought that boat. Like, granted, I didn't spend a lot of money on it, but like my wife will tell you, she's looking at me right. Yeah. And she's telling me to slow down. I'm looking at
Paul,
like,
slow down.
you get a boat, right?
Uh-huh.
And you want it to be fantastic. And so you get like a fixer-upper, and like, I'm going to make it great. And then you spend tons of money and tons of time on bearings, the trailer, spare tires, lights, electronics, like
Key terms, hot words,
things, right? Like all the
things.
stuff that goes into making boats great. And like all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I'm 3 paychecks deep into this and the thing still doesn't work. And like it can be infuriating. So that's the why not side. Is there anything that I missed? I mean,
that's pretty good. I would say from my experience, I agree with a lot of that. And we're not saying obviously that there's anything wrong with owning a boat. Obviously, it's all up to you. It's kind of like how you prefer to fish or to enjoy water in the great outdoors. And for us, it's just not that. But we're going to talk about, really a good option for a lot of people like getting into this, like an easy access option, right? Which to us would be kayaks. Like we're really putting it out there. Like if you're trying to get into fishing, you want to get off the bank, you want to enjoy the water a little bit more, and get access to different areas that you can't from the bank. Like obviously you need a vessel, right? But should your first vessel be a boat? I don't know. It kind of depends on how you were kind of like, you raised, how you grew up. If your family had boats and you've driven them before and you know how to back up a trailer, like sick, awesome. If you have the money and the space, cool, do it. Like there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have all those things, or you just want like a nice easy way to get started, right? Then we're going to probably sway you in the direction of kayaks, and we're going to talk a lot about
very quickly. Best things about kayaks: budget friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not in like the most expensive kayak you can buy is like less than
5,000,
less than 6,000. We'll just say that for sure. That's like ultra premium.
That has a Minn Kota on it.
Exactly. So then
it's a boat.
Average price per kayak is less than $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Most common one.
We'll just call it 1,000. We'll just call it like most common fishing style, good, really nice boat, $1,000 compared to a boat, not even close, right? The convenience of it, right? So the whole reason I got rid of my boat is that with kayaks, I can drag that thing up to my truck, throw it in the back of my truck bed, and like, bye-bye. Like you throw all the stuff in it, like, and you can't carry 48 rods, like you can carry 3. So it's like I throw a bag, snacks,
that's a minimalist approach.
Beverages, right? Like 1 tackle bag, and then like a couple of rods, and I'm like, all right, I think we're pretty much good. A paddle if I'm, had coffee, and like you're ready to roll. The whole like loading and unloading, if you can back up a vehicle, in reverse, you're good to go. Like you can do it. If you can operate a ratchet strap, like
one,
you're good to go, man. Yeah. And the whole like being on the water thing, if you have a pedal kayak, you might as well be operating on a really, really, really premium trolling motor at all times, right?
Yeah, I mean it changed my life. So let's talk about like the different kinds of kayaks. So let's say you're interested. Let's say you're going to get a kayak. You want to get rolling on this.
No, let's just say you can't afford a boat. All right.
All right. There you go. You're in our category now. Welcome. Join us.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. We don't have any money and we still go fishing. So, where would you start?
Okay. It is very easy to look at like a selection of like
shiny things
top to bottom and just be like, I'm gonna buy like the best kayak because like it's the greatest.
Start with the best, man.
Yeah, well, okay, Jeff. I promise you.
I didn't. What are you talking about?
You don't know what you want, right? Like you can't know what you want. So I personally would recommend. We're circumventing. We're going like towards the bottom, but I would personally recommend if you're gonna buy your first kayak, buy one that is like not that big of a deal for you. Like focus on the like $500 range kayak that has like some of the features that you want, not every single feature in the world. Fish in it for like 1 to 2 years. Find out if it's like the way that you like to fish, right? Because it may be something that maybe you get a boat. Maybe you don't like to do that. Maybe you decide you're going to fish in the river and fly fish for the rest of your life, like, wade fishing only or whatever. But like, don't go into it $5,000 deep and then be like, wow,
I hate this.
This is not for me. But think about like doing that first. But regardless, there are some critical factors. If you're looking at a kayak, there are what I would call critical factors, like Maslow's hierarchy. What is most important? I'm gonna tell you right now. Number one, we already talked about a little bit, is budget. Do not spend more than you have. I'm not advocating for breaking the bank. Everyone knows that budget is going to rule everything. If you can't afford a $5,000 kayak, don't buy one. But
and they don't. I will say this, just to jump in on that, that a lot of people say just do it because it holds its value. And I mean, I would argue back. Have you ever sold anything on the marketplace? Because nothing holds value.
You spend $3,000 on a kayak, which I don't even know if there are some $3,000.
3,000 is like a weird range, but
that's a weird range. Yeah, okay. You spend.
That's just mine. Mine was in that range. Mine was 3,700.
Awkwardly, you spend like $4,000 on a kayak, right? You're getting
1 to 2.
like on a good day. Like
I went to
with all the crap that you put on it.
Yeah. I upgraded mine, and when the Hobie 360 drive came out, I was like, oh, I'll just sell this. They quote unquote hold their value. So I was like, cool, listed on Marketplace. I went to a few boat dealerships and got some quotes, and nothing. Like I was getting quoted for $2,000. I spent $3,700. Plus it has a fish finder. Plus it has a bunch of new storage additions. Like this thing is decked out and
means nothing.
At the end
it's
of
not
the
a Silverado. It's not gonna hold its value. I'm sorry. It's not a truck. But
exactly.
So, be kind to yourself on the budget piece. Like I definitely recommend like getting started with one, trying it out, because there are so many factors like within kayak fishing that you kind of need to get adjusted to, because most people are not expecting them. That being said, budget is very important, whether it's your first year 12th kayak. If you're upgrading or you're buying the first one, it's not even close. It is not there. It's not even a question. Like the most important thing, Jeff, you say anything else, I'll beat you. It's the seat.
I agree.
Right? There's nothing more important.
It's the anchor trolley system.
Go away, never come back.
What was that?
Like you're gonna spend between the shortest time you're gonna spend in the water is like 2 or 3 hours. The longest time, I mean,
even then, man,
we go sun up to sundown, right? And it's like, dude, that seat will keep you out there. Period. Like period. Like it's not a question. Like organization can be gotten around.
We'll get to that stuff.
Yeah,
let's stay on the seat for a second.
And here's what you're looking for. You're looking for something that is not foam. I'm not looking for foam. I want that like
that shit'll break down.
I want that tension, like strappy seat that like is like gonna air dry you and be very supportive. You want one that has a frame. A lot of seats don't have a frame. It's just like a molded plastic seat with like foam inside of it. That's a step down. Step up would be like a framed seat with like a very nice like nylon-y stretched over it. You definitely, if a seat can be adjustable, like, and I'm not talking about like the little strap that like pulls the back up. I'm talking lumbar. Dude, lumbar support. It sounds like
lumbar support.
Because I said a dumb thing, like I'm selling a lazy boy. That's not what this is. This is like it literally will make the difference between you like wanting to be out there paddling or pedaling all day, or just being like, well, this is fun. I caught no fish and going home. The next.
What that does though, man, is like that kind of brings us into the types of kayaks real quick, if we could. Is that the next point?
No, there's one more thing.
There's one more, and then we get to that.
No, this is really important.
Okay.
Because it determines so many other things. I think 3 critical factors: budget. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, we all have what we have. Seat, by far the most important. It should always be the tiebreaker, and really it should pretty much determine what like stratosphere of like
it's the value. It's the value of the kayak. Like really I don't care about cup holders, organizations. No. It's got a built-in cooler. Like all of that stuff is worthless. You can add those things later.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
Just get the seat.
Period. But you got to make a call on whether you sit on top or sit inside. And I know that like. It's that realistically, it's not a question to me. Okay, so here's first. I'm going to ask the audience to kind of weigh in here. If you're listening to this right now and you're a sit inside disciple, dude, sway me.
Disciple,
dude, sway me because you can't sit on top. It's not even close. I mean, stability, like being able to legitimately stand up and cast at any time, being able to bring in fish, like being able to grab tree branches, being able like. And by grab tree branches, I mean like you can literally like stand up
because your lure is stuck in it.
like there's so many times where I've been like, I have a sit inside. I use it all the time for like short
Still
days.
do. Yep.
Yeah, no, I use it all the time, and it doesn't weigh nearly as much. So that's the biggest difference between a sit on top and a sit inside. The biggest differences are, one, the stability on a sit on top is like way better than a sit inside. A sit inside is like your traditional, like if you went and rented kayaks to like.
It's what you're picturing when you think of a kayak.
What you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Dude, the sit inside is great. It doesn't weigh anything. You can't carry as much gear.
It's good to paddle. It's good to just paddle around, paddle down the river in if you're just going for a cruise.
4 hours or less, it's hard to beat. That being said, there's no question. If I was going to buy one kayak, it would be some version of a sit on top. So if you're in the audience right now and you're one of the disciples, just sway me with your argument, and I'll just
tell me why.
Tell
me how easy all of your stuff fits into your sit inside, and how not cramped your feet feel, and how awesome it is to not be able to stand up for 4.5 hours.
And how no things you have. All right. No question. So,
but they're fast, they're light, they're easily transportable. If you're going for like a real short trip, I would consider it.
Or if you're in a tight river, for sure.
Yeah. But 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, I would be in my Hobie, no matter the water.
Great backup kayak, not your go-to every day. All right. Now that I got that on my system.
Dude, rant over.
No, it's a big deal though. So those are your things. Budget. The seat is number one, should be seat tied with budget, and then sit or top or sit inside. So assuming that you're a normally functioning human and you're an individual with decent sensibilities, you have a decent seat that matches your budget, because it's pretty much going to dictate your budget. Mm-hmm. And then you have a sit on top kayak. That's probably what you're targeting if you're looking for like a fishing kayak or like a multi-purpose kayak, right?
Yeah.
All right. The next things on my list that are outside of the critical factors, the first thing I have is stability.
Yeah. Big deal. Very big deal. And I think it varies. The budget plays a role in it for sure.
Why though?
Why? Because of how we can change the hull design, and
it's everything.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, like with the hull design, you're talking more plastic, right? So like a better hull design, something like you have or I have, is going to be like more of that pontoon tri-hull type situation where it's going to track a lot better. You might have rudders, you might have a skeg installed on that, which is going to help you track in the water, so you're not just like spinning in the wind like an idiot, which I've done and is the worst. Dude, when I caught those 2 bass that day, like I was just cruising. I was drifting at top speed, 500 knots right down the lake, and it was ridiculous. Like wind will do that in a kayak. It's tough to deal with. And yeah, tracking in the water is something that's very important, and your hull design is going to have a lot to do with that. Whether or not you have a rudder, a skeg, that's going to have a lot to do with that. And then stability wise, obviously if you have more of a pontoon style hull, meaning
or wide, sit on tops are what, wide. Like 6 inches wider than the average,
just at the start. And then you go up to something like yours or like my Hobie, like it's even wider, like
35 plus inches wide.
Yeah. Huge. So the wider it is, the more stable it is, right?
I fly fish on my kayak all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And we can stand up, we can, aim to the side, we can turn around entirely. If I need to access a cooler in the back, I can just stand up, turn around. It's not a big deal. I'm never really worried about flipping my kayak. And I mean, I'm 6'2", I weigh 210 pounds, like
show off.
Fucking jacked.
Sorry, you said something that you're going to have to clip out of this episode there?
It doesn't matter on podcasts. But yeah, so it's like I'm not worried about flipping that thing over.
Yeah.
But if you go to the lower end of the spectrum with sit on tops and you're paying $700, maybe
way lower, lifetime kayak.
Well, yeah, I guess you can go really low, huh?
No offense. So, companies based in Michigan are, I'm all about the mitten, but dude, cheap kayaks, you legitimately can't go straight.
Yeah.
like you legit. So tracking, just for
you
folks,
paddle, you're pointing ahead and you go left and you're just like, help.
No, like you are. So if you're in a kayak that's got a solid hull design that has the proper amount of weight and the right amount of rigidity, like regardless of how good a paddler you are, you're gonna generally go in the direction that you're paddling, like that you are looking, right?
Yeah.
If you're in a cheaper kayak that isn't rigid enough, that it doesn't have a great hull design, that doesn't weigh enough, you're a Roomba. I mean, you're just
you're a Roomba.
like you got nothing. So
Can you sweep this leg, please?
you're gonna struggle to go in a straight direction on purpose.
Trust us, you're gonna be very mad. You will be like, you don't think about it right now, but you kind of want to make that investment. Again, like start within your budget, obviously, but like let's say you fall in love with kayak fishing and you want to level up your life and happiness index, then you need to invest. And we'll get more into that in a little bit. But yeah, like so hull design, width of the boat,
$500 kayaks that track pretty darn well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
but it's important.
It's very important. So just, look at what we're saying is like, look at the bottom of the kayak. That'll tell you, like, look it up and then look up some video reviews on YouTube. Would be great. Yeah. And, like, all right, so our kayaks.
Yeah.
You want to jump into that? I mean, we can do that real quick.
First, before that, I want to talk about, so we talked a little bit about budget being the number one. This relates to stability. Mm-hmm. There's basically like, I would say there's like 3 generic price ranges where it's like,
oh yeah,
X and under is like one type, and then you jump up.
You see generally the same level of performance, unless it's just like a complete shit company,
or it's like they get like hyper specific, right? Like hyper specific types of kayaks, like within a price range, and like do 1 or 2 things really well and nothing else. But like just in general, it's basically there's like the 700 or less category,
right?
750 or less. That if you're at the top end of that, if you're at like the $600 or $700, $500+ range, 500 to 700, you're getting like a kayak that tracks pretty well. You can get a decent sized sit on top. It may or may not have like really nice molded in handles. It's probably not going to have like legit storage, but it's going to be like pretty bare bones, pretty open, but it's going to have a quality hull. It's going to have some customizability if you want it. And it's gonna do what you need it to do. It's gonna be a decent bag.
Yeah, if it's plastic, it's customizable.
Well,
like my $100 kayak
I'm talking about rails. I'm talking about ram mount. Like I'm talking about like on the.
But you can install that on anything.
It's ready for that, right?
Right, like simple install versus. Yeah. Will it sink? It might, because that's.
How many holes do I need to drill into this boat?
You got enough marine goop, you're gonna be fine, my friends.
So there's like the $700 and like below. I will say like the category you kind of want to shy away from if you're like really going to be fishing for long days and you're going to be out a long time. I say like $500 is kind of the minimum.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You can get some decent kayaks from like your Dick's Sporting Goods, your Cabela's, you're like in that 700. It's kind of the sweet spot, I think, where you can get a decent one. Or, well, all right, so they have like, Cabela's has like their Ascend brand, which I'm not a big fan of. The seats are getting towards okay, but they're cheaper.
They are value. They're a decent value. The thing I don't like about those is they try and incorporate like a lot of features. I wish they would take a lot of those like essentially useless features that don't really do very well like away, and they would just focus on like the design of the kayak. Like there's a lot of kayak brands out there that are just making like good quality kayaks that what you're paying for are the things you want. You're paying for the seat, paying for the hull design, but you're not paying for like premium
bells and whistles.
Yeah, but
you should buy those aftermarket and install them yourself. Like get what you want.
Totally agree. Yeah. So
guys, don't be swayed by the bells and whistles, because you can buy them cheaper online, separately, install them yourself very easily, and get exactly what you want and custom make that kayak. So just get the bare bones. And that, to jump to like a different brand, New Canoe is kind of one of the ones that interests me in that way, that they're very bare bones, but like solid design, like good quality hull. Yeah. And like I think their Flint model is like $1,000, but it's like a great sit on top, good seat, all that jazz, but none of the bells and whistles. So like you get it, like the stuff that you actually want to pay for, you're getting, and then you just customize it however you want.
Hull, open floor plan.
open concept, baby. That's awesome.
No, that's like your 0 to 700. The next one is like 700 to, I'll say, 1500.
Yeah, this is where we wound up with. Was the MX your first kayak?
Oh yeah.
All right, so was it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so your first kayak was the Predator MX, this is Old Town, and then mine was my second one was the Old Town Predator, the 13-foot,
Yep.
like the I don't know, a couple years earlier edition, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The one I had before that was just like a generic off the market sit inside. It was like $100. I think it was Mainstream's the brand.
It was red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue, which was the only reason I bought it, not for anything else. Everything you just said, you were like, budget, yeah, it's $100. I got red, white, yeah. I was like, seat, not important. Red, white, and blue. Hull, what's a hull?
How
red,
long
white,
did you have that guy before you upgraded?
A year.
Bingo.
Yeah, I fished many times that year. It was like that. It was like that first spark when you took me out and we did bluegill fishing and we were crushing it. And it was in that kayak. Yep, just plugging them. And then I fished a whole bunch more times that season. I was like, you know what? Kayak fishing is a thing I want to do. And then I was like, I'm going to invest. And I went onto Marketplace like any good consumer.
0 to hero.
No, not yet. See, I spent $800 on my second kayak. So the Predator, the Predator itself is in that range. It's like 1,100 to 1,400, depending on non-pedal variations of this paddle. Yeah. So, because you have like the MX, which is the shorter but wider version, and then you have the 13. Do they have a size between those? Because yours is like 11 something. 12.
12. At least 11 and a half.
And mind you, now Old Town has a whole brand new Sportsman edition, which is a whole new lineup, right? Which we're not getting into on this podcast because we haven't ridden in any of them and we have nothing to say about them. But one of them does have a Minn Kota in it, which is a bit ridiculous.
They've had the Minn Kota for a while though.
Different though.
Not with the freaking
spot lock. Spot lock.
We've liked
Old Town, if you're listening, we'd like to test drive your kayak. That'd be great.
Oh, I'm reeling you back
Hit
in.
me up.
All
right, so back in the range.
You went to the Old Town. You
Mm-hmm.
did that for what, 2 years?
Yeah, the Old Town was much longer. So it would have been at least 2 fishing seasons. And yeah, just beat the living tar out of it and love that thing. But then decided to upgrade and I sold it for exactly what I paid for it. I think I made $50 on it, which is dope. I'm really good at selling stuff at Marketplace. You guys should, I should start doing podcasts on how to make money on things on Marketplace. I just sold my John boat for a $1,500 profit. I added nothing to it. But anyways, besides that, what I did was I sold that, took that $850, added $3,000 to it and bought a Hobie. I was like, honey, I have almost enough money.
Hobies.
What's that?
There are many Hobies. Be specific.
Yeah, there are many Hobies, but there's only one for me. So Paul and I went to a local store, semi-local in Lansing.
Yeah, freaking 2-hour drive.
Freaking 2-hour drive. So Summit Sports, and I will mention them because they're awesome. They hooked me up a whole bunch of times.
They are good.
But Summit Sports in East Lansing, and we went in there, and I was like, I want to look at this thing. I want to just get ideas, right? I end up buying it that day, but we looked at a few different models. So the newer Outback, the Hobie Outback was out that year, and that was like brand new, but again, bells and whistles. That was basically just the Outback, which was an okay boat, but then they deck it out with bells and whistles and all these extra rails and side pockets and, tool retractors and all this crap that you can add yourself. And it like drew me in.
It's the tree hugger version of the Pro Angler.
Mm-hmm. So we went there, like basically Pro Angler was this pipe dream, right? And we were like, we can't afford that. Obviously it's off the list. So then we go, what? Well, spoiler alert, I bought it. But we went in and we were like, no, we'll go for this Outback. Cause it was like 1,500 less. Yes. Like 1,000, 1,500 less. And it was
yeah.
I might be able to make this work. Okay, cool. So we go in, we look at it and we like sit on it. So they had them up on those stands, sat on it, kind of like felt what it would be like to be fishing this thing. And I was like, damn, I don't really like this. And Paul's like, yeah, I wouldn't be happy with anything but this. And then he hops on the Pro Angler, and then I hop on the Pro Angler, and I'm like, you just ruined my life. And I spent the next hour and a half negotiating with my wife that I would buy that boat. And then I bought it. And I send Paul a text, and I'm like, here's the boat in the back of my truck. I'm going home now.
I was green with jealous rage. Yeah.
But all right, so big difference between the two boats, right? So let's stay within the range. We'll get to the
Well,
Hobie here.
so you've got your 700 to 1500. Those boats are going to have really hot, like very nice seats, very comfortable. They're going to have multiple different kinds of storage options. Most of them are going to have not just rod holders, but they're going to have rod storage options for you. They're going to have molded in handles, which I don't care what anybody says. That is near
So
the
important.
top of my list than others.
Yeah.
They're going to be stable, steady. They're going to track. They're going to be of high quality materials. So you can scrape the shit out of them. They're still going to work. They're going to have paddle holders. They're going to have like custom decking. And by custom decking, like the flooring where you put your feet, that is going to be in some way meant to channel water. It's going to have grip on it. It's going to be like comfortable for you to stand on. They're going to have patterns for you, color options, blah, 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 blah. That's the
so many options.
That's the rough option. Then you've got 1500 plus. I mean, 1500 plus, there's a couple.
It really gets so
let's say 1500 to like 2200.
Sure.
A weirdly specific number. The reason being that is where roughly 2500 is where you're getting into like the premium pedal.
Yeah, you're getting into pedals.
You're no longer paddling, you are pedaling, right?
Sub 2, you get like the the bicycle pedals, the bicycle prop.
We're talking forward and backwards. We're talking like your ability to steer in like a really meaningful quality way. We're talking about rod locker. We're talking about those are premium options.
Rudders.
Right? We're talking about seats that can be removed and used as a camp chair. Like we're talking about like premium options, right? Like tons of usable space, and still oddly enough within like 120 pounds, which I know sounds like kind of heavy, but when you consider the fact that you're essentially like on like the lowest possible, like you're as close to being a boat as possible, and you're still very easily manageable at a somewhat drop off point, to being a boat. Like you're basically a boat, you're a boaty kayak, right?
And let's be real. You don't pick this thing up. You tip it. You never pick it up. Like all you do is tip it and throw your wheels on it, whichever wheels you choose. I prefer the scupper hole mounted wheels. It's just easier and more stable and better for your boat if you do it right.
You said back, right? Was that what you said?
Back?
It's better for your back.
It's better for your back too. Yeah. It is. I mean, all you do is tip the boat, put the wheels on, drag the thing. It's easy.
If you're Jeff and you're 6'1" and you're 230 pounds, then yeah, you just pick it up off the.
No, I just gained 20 pounds on this episode.
You're welcome. But realistically, though, I mean, like when you get into that upper stratosphere, you're getting like ultra premium options. And those are great. I think that's probably reserved for the Jeffs of the world. Like, when you're making those critical factor decisions, right? Your budget. If you're in that premium budget, you're probably looking at a pedal kayak, especially with like the pedal options that are out there. So like the Mirage Drive, the 360 Mirage is like
stupid.
You can do more than what a boat can do. I mean, essentially, right? Like, but when you're talking about what like the Predator, because that's what I have, but like Old Town has like their drive, and it legitimately is pretty amazing. It goes in reverse better than what the Mirage can do. All right, it's immediate. All right.
Yeah.
And again, rod lockers, hyper customizable storage. If you want to put electronics on it, it's built in, ready to roll. You're not drilling any holes whatsoever. It's ready to rock. You don't have to worry about things. Like you're spending enough money, you don't have to worry about things. Like anything
you want to
do is ready to roll. So like those are your kind of general like budget guidelines, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's within. I mean,
and the seats are stupid. The seats are stupid.
The seats are stupid.
The seats are, it's like when you remember when they came out with those theaters where you could like recline the seat and like fall asleep while you're supposed to be watching Star Wars. Like that is legitimately what you're getting. Like you're getting that is like it is more comfortable than like my work chair that's supposed to like make me want to stay at work. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'll put it this way. So what Paul's referring to is like this pro angler seat is stupid because the Old Town seats are very comfortable. Like I had one on the
Like
Predator.
mine, it is glued and screwed together, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, mine did fall apart at some points, but eventually, it's a great seat. But like the pro angler seat, it's
Not a seat. It's like
borderline illegal. Like
you're basically Captain Kirk.
yeah,
Beat me up, Scotty. It's phenomenal.
it's it's super comfortable, great airflow. It does actually have some cushioning on it that still, stays dry, keeps you dry, wicks away that moisture. And then it has a lumbar support. And then it has the bottom seat adjustment and also the top angle. So it's like a multi-adjustable seat.
Yeah, and we should
Absurd.
say there are also species specific boats, right? So there's fly fishing boats. Like
Yeah.
Jackson makes a bunch of boats that are real, like ocean.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
everybody makes ocean style kayaks, right? So like if you're
Yeah.
ocean fishing, they make a lot of boats that are meant to go like a mile plus offshore. That are meant to be drugged by like gigantor fish and like that is all out there for you. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it.
But a lot of similar things that we're prioritizing and looking for in those boats. It's just like on the ocean, you're not going to stand as much as I do on my pro.
You're not gonna have a 12-foot boat. You're gonna have a 14+ foot boat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Going longer, slender, yeah, but still sit on top.
Right. And if you're in the river, you're not gonna have a 14-foot boat. You're gonna have a less than 12-foot boat for sure, right? Like those are the things you're looking at.
I'd take my pro angler on the river.
12-foot. So let me ask you this: like we talked a little bit about customization. First of all, I'm gonna talk about what you can do. You can do almost anything, right? Like electronics.
Yeah, what can't you do?
Storage. Well, it's very difficult for you to make a non-pedal kayak a pedal kayak.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So I'll put that in there.
Hey guys, jigsaw, go right through the hull, straight through the bottom.
I would not take a Sawzall to your boat.
Do not.
Do not recommend. But no, I mean you can't add length to your boat, right? I mean when you buy a boat, it's as long as it's gonna be. But things you can do, I mean you can do almost anything. I mean like we'll talk about some of the customization you've done on your boat. 1 minute or less, go.
1 minute. All right. So I'm not going to do this in 1 minute, but yeah, you can add just about anything. So Paul's got good examples of like DIY stuff and like great ways to take your kayak beyond what it was meant to do, I would say. Mine staying well within just what Hobie allows you to do. I was able to add a fish finder. We have tons of Hobie accessories with like, just bait bins and, the most amazing cup holder I've ever had. But rod storage lockers, rod support. We've got the back storage hatch now has 2 batteries in it. Front battery. What's that?
Latest episode on the YouTube channel?
The episode for it? I haven't done yet. I haven't shot that one. It's coming. All these upgrades, the newer upgrades are coming. I already did
initial teaser.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to BurlyFishing and you look up my Hobie videos, there's 2 of them. One's the full walkthrough of the boat, bare bones. And then one of them is the initial fishing setup. But now we're going to have some additional upgrades. So some of the newer ones are the 2 batteries in the back, which is by Burly Pro. It's called the Batarang, which is an awesome name. But it holds 2 FPV, which is Burly's battery. It doesn't matter. Anyways, so easy access battery because it just pops in and out of that back 8-inch waterproof hatch. And that allows me to power my micro pole, which is going in the back, which is an 8-foot stake that is powered by a little drive system. So I can anchor wherever I'm at as long as it's less than 8 feet deep, which is going to be awesome for most of the water.
Personally powering a tiny bass boat.
Pretty much. And then, so that'd be one of the batteries. The other one we'll utilize later, which would be for like light systems. We'll get to that. We're for a little bow fishing, but we're not there yet. And then we got a battery in the front that powers the fish finder. I just added the Burly Pro side bros, which are these little like side pockets that attach to that seat. So they're like bolted onto that seat. And they've got like a jig bucket, so you can just hold all your lures on that, stash like a smaller tackle bin. And the other side has a molded plier holder, which is pretty fantastic. Quick access to your fishing pliers. And then tons of underseat storage. So I put like
1 minute or less.
Plastics. I mean, I told you it wasn't going to be 1 minute.
Well, less. So
yeah, that's the majority of good stuff.
I mean, you can legitimately turn yourself into a roving bass boat that's powered by your feet. I mean, that's really the bottom line.
Yeah, this boat does literally everything. We'll just say that. Like
Totally
it
agree.
can do anything.
So I will offer this up. I will offer this up. If there's anything you want to see done on a kayak, send us comments on the YouTube channel. Send us an email. Put it. Go on the whatever. However you're listening to this right now, leave us a comment. We'll take a look. I have a backup set on top kayak that is open to being customized in any way possible.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want to see. If there's something that you've always wanted to do, don't know how to do it, we'll film it for you. We'll do it for you. It's my wife's kayak, so I can butcher it. It's all good. And then
if there's anything you want DIY, we'll do that to Paul's boat. If there's anything,
that's my jam. We'll put it on film for you. I've done tons of stuff, and coming soon will be a hyper customizable duck blind on your kayak.
Nice.
It's gonna be rad. So let me ask you this: we talked about the type of kayak you want, talked about the critical factors. Let me ask you this: what is always in your boat? Period. The end. What do you like? I'm not talking about like what you can bring. You can bring many things. What is legitimately always in your boat, no matter what?
Like one thing?
No. I got a list of like 5 or 6 things. What is legitimately always in your boat, no matter what? Doesn't matter if it's like bluebird day, gonna rain, you're out for 6 weeks, you're out for 20 minutes. Like, what is always in your boat, no matter what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to just take fishing gear off because I'm going to say that's obvious. So
it's always in there. Yeah.
We're just going to say anything fishing gear related doesn't count.
Yep. That's right.
What is always in my boat would be one, a drink. So I'll have like a Yeti thermos, or if Paul and I are going fishing, it's a lot of Sunny Bills in my Yeti cooler. So there's that. But the other things that are very important. One is an empty, large size Gatorade bottle so that I can pee discreetly. Very important. You can't always stand and piss off the side of your yak. If you are in busy waters or a smaller lake where all around the bank, like me, there are people and children, you will have to pee discreetly, and you will do so into a bottle. And you can do that while seated, and you can do it without spilling if you learn how to up your skill level. So
if you're not a man, I apologize. You're gonna have to be on a lake that has options.
But you can, if you're on like I don't know, if there's like slim bank area, maybe you can pull off to the side. If it's summer, go wade into the water and pee. Or if you have like a nice vented seat like I have, you can just pee through the seat.
That's why you pay for the seat, folks.
I mean, if I got scuppers, man, it'll let the water out.
Jeff so far has beer and empty bottle. Please continue.
I've always had a roll of toilet paper. A sock is fine. You tell me you don't bring a sock. Like, get off my back.
Everyone has a poop sock. If you don't have a poop sock, you've never been in the outdoors. And that is my company idea. And if you try and steal this from me, I'm gonna know about it. It's a recyclable.
Please just cite the podcast
item.
It's a sock, dude. Just get socks. This sock is only for poop.
Sock, okay.
Yes. Fair enough. Biodegradable. Got it. So some sort of wiping materials. We'll just say that.
All right. What else? What actually important? All right. I'm going to take over.
So I'm not done yet. So it's like mostly liquids going in or leaving, right? So far, that's all I care about. So other than that, I will say what is always on my boat. Very important. I'm just going to do my PSA right now. A life jacket. And specifically a fishing life jacket so that you can have your stuffs all, up in there. So I keep like my phone in there, got my GoPro strapped to it, got my pliers, like whatever. It's like the all-encompassing utility belt of Batman. Life jacket, you should wear one. I'm just gonna say that right now. End of.
I actually keep in my life jacket at all times my nicest pliers.
No.
I keep my
Do you attach them too, or are they just in?
No. They're just.
I have like the little
zinger
cord. Yeah, zingers.
I'm not into the zingers when it comes to that. I'm already on a boat. What's the point? I have a waterproof case with 8 different sizes of sinkers, like either tie on or crimp on, and then what else do I keep in there? Phone for sure. That's actually kind of crucial. and then
Very crucial.
and then sutures, right, for little fish. But like that is like legitimately, I have like a set of those that just live in my life vest, like at all times, no matter what.
Life
Some
jacket's
people just want to have
crucial,
a
man.
knife because it sounds cool.
I just have it in my jeans.
I don't really understand why that has to be in here. Anyways,
What?
it looks dope. That is, yeah. You look SEAL Team 6. It's like
It's a rescue mission.
pretty rad, but like it's not a requirement. But like
No, it's definitely not a requirement.
those are always in my life vest. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, then we're down to fishing gear, so I guess that's it.
Really?
For me.
I have a tow rope for sure.
Okay.
I always have my Frog Togs top.
I guess all right. So I have like, if I just go from the front bin has like the scale, the measuring tape, a towel in case I decide to go swimming, which like folds up, stow and go like a microfiber towel. It's pretty cool. And then that's where like the bottle and the toilet paper lives. And then there is a sunscreen and bug spray. And that's the front bin. Sunscreen, bug spray, money.
Yeah, I have a dry bag that always has like random snacks, sunscreen, wallet, keys, snooze. I always have water. I like it in the Yeti thermos. I know we're plugging Yeti hard here, but like there's nothing on planet Earth like having cold water with you. I swear to God.
Truth.
The life jacket was one thing I had down. I always have a tow rope.
Okay.
Like because what happens if you snap your paddle, lose your paddle? Rory Bear. I mean, what do you like when you're on a lake? Like
I have a pedal kayak.
What happens?
My pedals don't break.
What happens when it's compromised, bro? You have that tiny little hand paddle that's basically like a.
I do. I have. Yeah,
exactly.
I do. I guess that's always on there too.
I have a tow rope. I usually have a hoodie with me every time I go because it always gets crappy out. Those are like the absolutely must-have criticals.
Well, this is the time to say episode 3. At this point, we told you guys every time Paul and I go fishing together, and it's not winter, it's raining.
Yeah, and sometimes when it's winter, it's raining.
And sometimes in winter, it rains sideways.
I have more videos and photos of me soaked by rain than I have of legitimately anything else except for my dog.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, real quick. We're coming to, what are we on, like 14 hours of time here?
Yep.
The ending. All right. How do you transport your kayak? You own a truck.
Yeah. So, all right. 3 very short tips, I'll say. 1, get wheels. If it's a sit inside, you throw the thing over your shoulder if you're an able-bodied individual. You drag it if you're not. And if you need wheels, you get specific wheels that you have to like ratchet strap around to hold it to the friggin' thing, and it's a pain in the butt. If you have a sit on top, usually you have scupper holes, so you get a scupper hole version of the wheels, and they go right into usually the rear section, like right behind the wheel or right behind the seat. So you punch them in there, so it just balances out the weight, and you shopping cart that sucker right down to the ramp, and you just back it on the water. Wheels are very important. Good wheels are even more important. If you get the plastic crappy ones or like some cheap aluminum. What are you doing?
Getting comfortable.
Paul's showing me nipples right now. So if you get like a crappy aluminum, you might damage your boat. So you really want to get a good pair of wheels. The Hobie wheels I picked up are like $150. They ain't cheap, but I
don't have wheels.
Well, you either partner carry or you drag that beast, and that's fine too. If you can drag, like I said, if you can drag it, awesome. Like if you spent the money on the boat, the hull's gonna be fine. But like with mine, I like the wheels. It just makes life super easy. That said, second most important piece is from storage area to truck bed. One of the easiest ways I've found is I built my own cart. You guys can see the video on the YouTube channel. If you go to the YouTube channel, check it out. A little DIY cart that I made. Actually saw a bunch of different designs on YouTube, and we kind of like hodgepodge it to make it work for me. But you build it up to the height of your tailgate for your truck, and it's on wheels. So I literally can wheel it over to my truck bed and just push the Hobie off into the truck and then just leave. And when I come back, I do it in reverse order. And
what should come with every single kayak that you purchase?
What one?
Say ratchet straps.
Ratchet straps.
So if you own a
So
truck,
now it's in the truck.
if it's in the truck and you have a truck, ratchet straps. Period. The end. If you have what? How do people even put them on top of their cars? Like if you have a regular vehicle with like a car rack, ratchet straps, right? I mean,
Yeah, so I have those for the van. Like it's a little like J-cup design thing that goes on top on the rails, but you have to ratchet strap to that. It doesn't just sit there. You make a turn at more than 1 mile an hour, it flies off.
I'm just gonna start selling kayaks that come with ratchet straps, and I'll just be a billionaire.
Hey, stop giving away your genius ideas on the podcast, bro.
All right,
I know you guys did it. I know you did it.
How do you store your kayak? What room in your house is it in?
So it's next to my bed, man. I tuck it in every night. I don't use a blanket. It gets a blanket. I sleep naked on the bed, just crying and cold. Okay.
All right, bad question. So no, seriously, how
you don't understand. All right, so storing kayak's a really important point. But to keep it short, there's ways you can and cannot store your kayak. Ways you cannot store your kayak or should not is usually right on the ground. And that's because if temperature changes, you can damage the hull. Unless you have a really expensive one, then it's probably fine. But yeah, I mean, Paul, is yours on the ground right now?
No.
All right. Exactly. So the other one, you can put it on maybe like some sawhorses. I get it. It's tempting. You're going to have to pad those suckers up because the same thing, if there's a lot of space in the middle of it and all that weight is in the middle, if temperature changes, you could damage it.
Well, you keep those sawhorses in your what? In your living room or what?
No. So yeah, placement where it's located in the house is in the garage. I mean, if you got the room, put it in there. If you're in an apartment, I get it. I've seen people store big kayaks inside of apartments. Paul is raising his hand right now because he's one of those people, and that's fine. You
just want to keep it out of the sun, off the ground if you can, unless it's on a cement pad, and then covered would be good. You want to keep it out of the sun. You don't want to fade that color. You don't want to ruin that plastic because it definitely will do that.
Yeah, right? Ideally, like somewhere where like for me, it's PVC in the pontoon section of the hull, so it's distributing the weight evenly. Like that's the big thing. Just try to distribute the weight. You'll protect your kayak.
All right. We didn't talk a ton about weight. I mean, I think as the price goes up, the weight pretty much goes up. The 500 and less are like if you're sit on top, it's going to be in the 50 to 70 pound, 75 pound range. If you're sitting inside, pretty much all sit inside kayaks are going to be, I would say 50 pounds or less. And they're definitely going to be lighter. I mean, that is the benefit. That's why I own one. I have an Old Town, what is it? The Loon. It's like the minimalist version. No, it's the Vapor. It's the Vapor. Vaporeon. She weighs, I think, 25 or less pounds. That's that's really your biggest benefit is the weight. And then, sit inside once you get into the $700 to $1,200 range is going to be probably between 75 and 85 pounds, 90 pounds, something like that. Yeah. And then once you get above that, you're looking at 90 to 120 pounds, depending on the type of propulsion you have, whether it's paddle, or motor.
Yeah. I mean, right? More space, more plastic, more weight.
Money, more weight.
More problems.
Well, yeah,
actually less problems. It's just get fitter.
You get close to that situation where you're in a boat where it's like, I mean, you're basically a manatee. Like, it's terrible to be on land. It's not ideal. You don't want to be in shallow water, but the second you get out into the big water, like you're a ballerina. I mean, it's ideal. So that's kind of what you're dealing with. So anything else on kayaks? I mean, that's pretty much it.
I mean, this is a really good like starting point, I guess I would say. Like if we have other stuff to talk about, I'm sure there's like 50 episodes we could fill talking about kayaks.
Without even trying.
So yeah, it's something we're pretty passionate about. But yeah, hopefully you guys liked the episode. Hopefully it was helpful if you're in the market, you're looking for a boat and you want to figure out what's going to work for you. If you decide to go for a kayak, hopefully we gave you some good tips today. If you guys
if you're shopping for your first kayak, if you're thinking about buying a kayak, if you're like, God, I can't afford a boat, which would include like what 75% of the population of planet Earth. Go ahead and
more than that.
Okay, 99.9. Leave us a comment. Send us an email. Was Burly's Fishing?
Burly's Fishing. There's an S in there because screw Gmail. We'll change that later.
Gmail.com. shoot, leave us a comment on the YouTube channel, Facebook, whatever you want. Just let us know what you're looking for. We will help you buy a kayak. That includes if your mom is looking for a kayak. Don't care. Love talking about kayaks. Love helping people figure out what it is that's going to work best for them. Whether you're, bird watching, floating down the river on the weekends, or you're a hardcore fisherman. Love to see people in the water. We'd love to help you out. Send us something.
Absolutely. So, as always, guys, you guys can find us on Instagram at BurlyFishing, Facebook.com/BurlyFishing, BurlyFishing on YouTube. And this is the BurlyFishing podcast. So leave us 5 stars if you guys liked the podcast. If you liked the episode.
6 stars if you really liked it.
6 stars if you can figure out how to change everything on iTunes and reprogram it. Great. But we will be here for you guys. So reach out to us, and we'll see you guys later. Well, we won't see you. We'll talk to you later. I'm going to say that every episode now. We'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.